Good morning, everybody. Welcome back for another high-tier Leopard 2A4 battle from the 5th of September. 5th of September. And I had just finished winning a battle on this map from the opposite side against almost the entire same enemy team, as you'll see. Including Typo Dong here, who is from my Discord, in fact, or is a member in my Discord. A whole bunch of the enemy team and our own team were both on this battle, on this map, in our previous battle. And we had just won, which was a miracle in and of itself, so I figured, well, there's no possible way we can do this twice in a row, but we'll see what happens. So now that I actually have the FPE for my Leopard 2A4, I was a little bit more confident in driving the thing. I really enjoy it, but it is nice to finally have the FPE. Once I finally get the FPE finished in a tank, I feel like it's finally ready for combat. After that, anything else that happens, happens, but until you have parts in FPE, it doesn't feel like the thing is fully combat ready. So I don't have a real go-to spot on this map. Not exactly sure how I missed there, but I missed close enough in a way that apparently it didn't alert the MBT-70 to my shooting at him, and I was able to finish him off with the second shot, as he apparently didn't see me or was intent on concentrating on something else. But anyway, took him out for the first strike and moved into the cap, and it's a relatively well protected spot to capture from this side of the map, so I was pretty safe, and then tried to scout for any enemy tanks up in the hills over there. Now if you look on the mini-map, very happily, most of my team did not go up into the hills, and most of them are down on the actual battlefield floor fighting where the capture points are. We don't roll the map by any means. It ends up being quite the comeback battle, but it's nice that our team was not all up in the hills just sitting there stationary and trying to win the battle by sniping, which doesn't work all that often on this map. Sometimes you can do it, but you're really counting on the enemy team to not be also sniping at the same time. Anyway, that's not really the point of this video, so finished off the cap and just kept scanning. The enemy team took A, which was alright because we've got a fair amount of tanks over that way. It's still a stalemate for now, and I'm happy to sit here and keep defending the C point, which was my plan from the start on this map. Like I was saying, I don't really have a go-to strategy for this map, except I don't like going up into the mountains if I can help it. And I've seen some success, usually from the other side of the battle, from guys going where I am here and just kind of sitting it out at sea and waiting. They seem to do fairly well. So I backed off and held over at this spot here, which works really well. And you can see an enemy tank getting marked on the mini-map there, up in front of the central rock island formation. And there he is. Put a shot into him. Take out his gunner, his elevation, his traverse. Back off, put a second shot into him. I was kind of surprised he didn't start driving. And then put a follow-up shot into him and finished off his crew. I don't know if maybe his driver had been knocked out previously, but don't know. Finished him off anyway. So 2 kills in the cap so far. It's not going too bad. We've got a stalemate on the caps. Not too bad at all. Backed off to scan the likely avenue of approach on the backside of C. Didn't see anybody coming. And then just kind of pulled forward and held steady for a minute while we watched where the enemy is. So you can see an enemy getting marked all the way up there where the smoke is. So I took a rangefinder here to see what I could figure out, and it quite unhelpfully tells me that it's more than a kilometer away. Well, thank you, game, because I was about to fire at 200 meters, because I am Mr. No Depth Perception. But, yeah, that's a joke, guys. I could tell it's longer than a kilometer already. So, all I knew there was that I was going to start at 1200 and raise up if I had a shot, but it was a moot point, as no enemies showed up there for me to shoot at anyway, so pulled up and around here to see if I could spot any enemies coming, and sure enough, right as I did, there's a shot at somebody over there, plus I saw a shot coming from that direction, so we'll go investigate that guy from this nice little protected spot we've got here. Don't see anybody yet. There's a little tiny dot popping over the horizon. And we hear a jet coming. So we turn and look. Want to make sure it's not an FJ4. Turns out it's an F84, so not a crisis yet to tell the team. And there's my friend peeking up over the hill. The armor held, and I tracked him. And if you'll notice where he is right there, he's going to fire smoke off. Now watch that. There's a couple, right there in my gun sight, in my circle there's a couple of bushes. And you'll notice, well, first I tried a blind shot here that didn't work, and then I realized, okay, he's tracked, he can't go anywhere, he's right above that bush to the right, aim just above there, lining up with the horizon, and actually got him. And that was poor Typo Dong again. I bombed him out in the previous battle with my Arado, and it was one of the top 10 anime betrayals of all time in Discord history. So, when I knocked him out there in his T-64, I felt bad. Also, I let him know in chat how I was actually able to pick his position specifically. Based on, it's an extremely specific use case there, but if you can ever spot some piece of terrain that lines up directly with your target behind smoke, and that you can line up, and then of course I was also able to use the horizon of the sand dune to hit him. So I was really lucky there, because otherwise I would have had to wait for the smoke to clear, and he probably would have repaired his track and backed down off the dune by then, and I would have had to decide to either go after him or just continue sitting here at sea. So I really lucked out in that case. Unfortunately, at the time that I was typing, an enemy tank moved in and took B in the middle of all of my teammates, and I actually didn't fire at that M19 right away until I realized that, yeah, he's probably the alive thing there, because it wasn't moving or turning its turret. And it turns out that actually was that captured it. So right here, the enemy team has taken the B point. And watch how far our tickets bleed down before we're able to do anything about it. So, not a lot happens here for the next couple minutes or so, so I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, but I promise you're not missing any actual battle activity. Just me holding on the C point. You'll be able to tell by the amount of tickets that bleed off. So we've lost a couple of guys in the middle of the battle. We still have my squad mate there right next to B, and there's no real enemy movement coming, and then my poor squad mate gets hit by an FJ4 coming in. I punched a shot off at him in desperation, but I didn't quite get him, unfortunately. And we've got SPAA just coming up from C, and we've got a light tank, which turns out to be a Japanese M41, coming up from the A side spawn. And an enemy tank starts capturing C. Look at that, it's a T-62. Now, whoever could this be? Didn't really get the shot I wanted, but the armor held. And then I was able to get a reasonable follow-up shot, and then charged at him to see if I could get another shot in before he was able to turn his aim, and then was able to finish him off, thankfully. Sorry, Typodon. I'm sure he was none too pleased at my armor consistently holding for me there. So our tickets have bled down enough, and we've got nobody really close to the caps, that I decided to risk going for the B point, and I tried to time it so that I would finish the capture on C just before I exited the border of C and have a maximum full head of steam to head to B, and I timed it just about right. So, flying towards C here at the maximum possible speed across the sand in my 2A4. I've got parts, I've got FPE, and I've got the DM13 shells, but I don't have any mobility upgrades yet, although I'm pretty close to having tracks right now. But I don't have them yet, so that's extra mobility in the sand with a Leopard 2A4 in this state of modifications is nice to have a little bit of a running head start. And look how far down our tickets have now gotten. So our M41 marks a guy across the way there. I tried to get up these rocks to get a shot at him, but the rocks don't cooperate and stop me cold. I can just see his turret. Didn't quite aim high enough, bounced one just short of him, and decided, okay, we don't have time to sit here and plink shots away at this guy. Get into the B point and at least decap it, and then come back after that and see what happens. And the armor held. And I was able to get a shot at him moving out in the open. Hit him right as he fired back, and the armor held yet again. I have never had so many shots hit the front of my turret and not destroy the breech. ever in the history of War Thunder. So we're taking the B cap back finally. I am not really too excited about the number of enemy vehicles, enemy players that are still alive. And now that I've left my defensive hold on the C point, I'm really worried about them getting over there and taking it. And then I am really caught between a rock and a hard place trying to drive away from the B point towards C and having the back of my tank completely wide open. Managed to take B, somebody shoots at a tank and marks it right up here in front of me, and then my M41 hits him with the binoculars. And I never would have seen this guy, but it's an Abrams up there on the rocks, and I had to time this one just right. And I got his track, but I didn't quite get the shot I wanted, and stopped short before I drove out there because I didn't want to risk his reload being faster than mine and him taking me out. So unfortunately, I don't have a great spot where I can get a shot at him here without exposing part of my tank, unfortunately. But my team, in the meantime, is taking A. So what I'm really hoping for here is that he fires a shot at my M41 or maybe at the Leopard coming up behind me. My M41 shot him, and I was hoping that would distract him and get him to shoot back, but I couldn't quite get the opening I wanted, and right as I was trying to pull forward again, behind this rock here, he hit me and set me on fire, and that's when I knew that was going to be the end of the Leopard 2A4 for this battle. But I could see just the tiniest slice of him sticking out, and it turns out there's a fuel tank right there. And I thought, well, if I'm going to burn up, let's see if I can hit that fuel tank enough times to get a fire. I missed the second time and hit the rock. Extinguished my fire to buy myself a little more time. Waited for the reload. Come on, baby, reload. And unbelievably, absolutely unbelievably, with my follow-up shot, I actually set him on fire. And then the most astonishing thing happened next. He blew up. I don't know if he was out of FPE or he didn't have FPE or if he just decided, okay, I'm J'ing out to come back in a different vehicle, but I couldn't believe that I killed him there. Now, I actually J'd out because there was no hope of coming back and was going to come back in either SPAA or my bomber and decided, well, alright, I'll come back in my CL-13 to shoot down that guy, and then realized that without the G-suit for my CL-13, it's practically useless for me because my pilot G's out constantly. So I came back in my Arado 234 so that I was more capable of dogfighting with him, even though I'm in a bomber, because at least my pilot doesn't G out, sorry. And I've got bombs to deal with any enemies that get in there and start capturing, which is right now more important to me, is stopping them from taking the caps. So you probably can't see it on your screen right now, but I am actually tracking on the FJ4's dot up there, and was heading towards him to engage him and keep him off my guys down on the ground when they started capturing A, and I rolled in on A. I can see him down there. I did not fully identify him in time, unfortunately. Fired some shots at him to throw up some dirt, and just as I hit the spacebar to drop the bombs, the M163 that was in the A point knocks out my pilot, of course. Of course. So now that you guys saw yesterday that I've got the artillery on my Flak Panzer I Leopard, it's also a much more capable ground unit, as I can at least fire artillery, and also it helps take away those pesky FJ4s that are firing missiles at your teammates. So this is still not a guaranteed sealed deal, bought and paid for victory right here. But it's ticking down, and now I need to get my not entirely fast Leopard chassis Flak Panzer Leopard up into some place where I can actually defend either C or B. Because really, we only need to hold 2 of the caps and just keep that ticket bleed going. I'm worried about C, but it turns out there's another enemy fighter coming in, and that becomes my focus as I keep trying to drive towards the caps. There's an XM1 GM out there that just took out my teammate, my squad mate, and my fellow Flak Panzer Leopard, but I really have no choice but to charge forward and get to the C and B point to try and stop them from retaking them. And as the tickets bleed down just about to nothing, a second fighter makes a diving run in on my teammates, and after a little bit of trouble lining up on him, I knock out a second FJ4. And the tickets bleed out, and I miss a mission maker by that much right there. My poor M41. I couldn't get up there fast enough to save him. But oh my goodness, what a comeback win that was. As you saw by the tickets, our tickets bled way, way down before I was able to make it into B. And it wasn't just me. There was a lot of teammate help going on there too. That what you may not have been able to see fully, but that was a great team comeback right there. Thank goodness they didn't all go camp in the hills. So I ended up with 8 total kills, 3 captures, and just a couple of deaths. Pulled some pretty good research and some decent enough money there. Just missed getting a mission maker. That XM1 knocked out our M41 right after I took out that second FJ4, but that's a comeback right there, kids. I was proud of this one. Alright, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know what you thought. I'll bring you some more War Thunder as soon as I get a decent battle, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day as usual, everyone. Take care.